All right, pre-show shenanigans. I have absolutely nothing to talk about. Everett, take it away.
Yeah. So if you know where I am currently, obviously I am in New Orleans. Uh, there is a tendency with New Orleans in the summer to be very warm, very humid, disgustingly so. And I know a majority of people understand that. I think that it's a really common thing. Like, obviously, you've never been to New Orleans, but you know that the
No.
summers here are pretty disgusting. For the
So,
last
or
couple of
that's what I've
days,
heard.
yeah, for the last couple of days, we've been in excessive heat warning, and we've been told to not be outside for more than like 5 minutes at a time or whatever. Obviously, the people who live in New Orleans don't really care about that. You'll still go outside for whatever. We still have practice and whatever. Right, whatever. Okay. Today, it has been so bad. I'm in my room. You can see my fan's on right now, or if you're listening, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my fan's on.
Don't think
Uh,
they can hear it, but that'd be a shame if they could.
it would probably you probably would have already clicked off by now if you can hear my fan. But my house, my room specifically, the air conditioning does not work well. So I am not only sweating balls, but on top of that, about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago, my entire power went out. So if by whatever reason there are random cuts throughout this episode, or Grant just starts saying something random, it probably is because I am literally dying over here because my AC, my Wi-Fi, and everything decided to cut out again. And I honestly don't know what's more uncomfortable: being in the heat with no AC, or being in the cold with no heat.
Oh, you know what? Now
Let's embrace debate.
Let's embrace this debate. Now, as a man who, let's just start off with this. I don't have many experiences in legitimate cold weather. As a Southern California native, for me, if I see 50 degrees, we're arguably tossing on 2 layers. So my perspective's a little bit different, and I'm just a little more biased towards anti-cold, not having heat. However, let's take it at extremes. Okay, let's take them at extremes.
Which is literally my experiences.
Right now, like 105 New Orleans humidity, or
negative 25
negative,
Minnesota.
we can go even, and absurd blizzard and everything. But now, Everett, you help me out here, okay? How bad is shoveling your driveway? Because
here's
that
the deal.
Alone puts that above the heat?
As
the extra work you have to do with snow, or
as somebody who has lived in Minnesota for that period of time,
we'll call myself climate, of course.
We'll call myself a native Minnesotan for that stretch of time. I've been a native Los Angelean, I've been a native Minnesotan, I've been a native New Orleans. I don't know what you call it, but New Orleanian.
But
yeah. Once you've lived somewhere, if you've lived somewhere it's snowing, shoveling is not really that big of a deal. It can be annoying, but a lot of people use snow plows or shovel. I've done both. It's whatever. The bigger thing is, it's just being cold. Like Minnesota, it doesn't really snow that much, and when it does snow, it's kind of sick. But we're talking just specifically, you're dealing with the cold, or just the heat and humidity. We're not talking about any of the external factors, just those two things. For reference, by the way, it is currently,
if you were walking to class.
Yeah, it currently feels like 105. It currently feels like 105 degrees in New Orleans. I have also gone to school in negative 50 degrees weather in Minnesota. And you might think I'm joking.
You're about to follow that up within New Orleans, I was about to say.
No, you might think I'm joking, by the way. Just look up 2018 polar vortex Minnesota. I have lived in both literal, the furthest different range of climates physically possible, negative 50 degrees to 105 degrees. I think it can only get worse if I live in Phoenix next and I get to 120 in the summer. So from my experience and what my position is, this is so disgusting. Give me 15 degrees outside, because once you get past 20 degrees, everything 20 degrees and lower all feels the same.
Okay.
And if you live in the area enough, long enough, literally from it, if you're in Minnesota, if you go out and you see it's 25 degrees outside, you'll see people out in shorts and a t-shirt, because it's just
nuts. Psychopath behavior, to be honest. But yeah, this is my one thought. If we're gonna do a walking to class, walking to work type of thing, give me the cold, just because I'm convinced. Last year, second semester in Los Angeles, it was pretty cold, I would say. Like on a daily basis, even up to March, the typical day was 60 and cloudy. And so my walks to class, I'm like 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk.
But see,
They were
that's
completely
nice.
fine. But start of the year, it was 95 every single day.
But let's put it
to
this
be honest,
way.
isn't that
Would you
brutally
rather
hot,
have
and
it be
I hated it with a burning passion.
90 degrees or -5 degrees? Which would you rather walk to class in? We're talking negative and 90.
Speak on this because I've never like walked in -5. I would just say though, considering how much
You would just pass away essentially.
in both scenarios, correct, but I'd pass away quicker in the heat. Like
Okay.
the one thing about the heat walks that angers me.
There's nothing you can do about just
like
you're
if
just
you're
stuck
walking to like a test or something. I'm a little bit physically drained just off the walk. Like literally, like I expended some energy just walking to class, but also at the same time,
that is how it works. Yeah.
If it's extremely, but compared to like 60 degrees walking to class, it's you know, it's whatever. But like walking to class just in 95-degree, like literally the entire class is dripping sweat when they walk in. It's like
it's disgusting, and then you just feel like your
muggy.
body has the whole layer of waters on top of it.
You feel like your first layer on is just a layer of sweat.
Yeah, that's my entire existence right
your
now.
Shirt and your underwear and shit. We haven't even gotten to your pants yet. So like
I went through the pants layer, went to straight to your boxers. All right.
No, you got to wear a wetsuit to class. It's just, you know, I hate August, September, LA weather. I absolutely hate it. I can't imagine what you're going through right now. I'd legitimately be like, I'd have to buy like not even a bike because that uses leg power. I'd have to buy like a boosted board like Casey Neistat. And I see a lot of kids at USC doing that. Shout out to
that
Madison,
makes sense. Yeah.
birding with Crocs. I'll never forget it. But yeah, that was a nice little debate to embrace right there. Hot versus cold. Once again, I don't really feel like I can really give an opinion on it because I've just never experienced.
Give me the cold weather. Give me the cold. Give me the cold in 5.
But if you're in 5. In 5. Okay.
In 5.
All right.
Give me the cold in 5.
And remember. But now if we include like
specifically just for walking to class, give me the cold in 5.
Yeah, I am thinking though, like if you were going to take into account some external factors you have to take into account, like if it's 100 degrees, you know, you don't need to like shovel out your driveway or anything. But if it's walking to class like at Tulane and it did snow there, I don't know if you drive to class or not, but like for my like I walk to class, so it doesn't.
I won't.
But yeah, nice little debate to embrace. But without further ado, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the greatest episode of the Waterboy podcast you will listen to in your life. Today is episode 127, and the NBA free agency is already heating up. It's only June, and it's already heating up. July 1st.
Well, sorry. You mean the Shams versus Woj war has already started?
Well, it's not much of a war anymore. It's pretty one-sided. Shams is kind of just destroying Woj year in, year out at this point. But yes, it's a two-man race to be leaking all this information. And let's start off with this, Everett. I want to shout out Woj for technically breaking this.
Technically, he barely beat Shams.
He technically broke it, and he did have his full-on 4-paragraph ESPN Plus letter ready to go with it about his full breakdown, which, as a non-ESPN Plus member, I can't read. But Bradley Beal has been traded to the Phoenix Suns for Chris Paul, who is going to get released, Landry Shamet, multiple second rounders, and multiple pick swaps. Everett. I have also heard through the grapevine that the Suns are now currently shopping DeAndre Ayton after making this
I would
move.
do the same thing. To be honest, I'd do the same thing.
Now, I had heard some rumblings about a potential Beal to the Suns trade a day or two before it happened, and instantly all the replies to any of these rumors were Suns depth afterwards, and it's like a picture of like, I don't know,
the Mario Kart characters.
Yeah, Mario Kart characters, like literally like the grown-ups basketball team with Adam Sandler and shit. Like literally
Steve Carell, The Office.
Yeah, they're just
putting
literally the Office basketball lineup. Like they're putting up that as the bench. And last year, if you saw what the Suns tried to do, yeah, the depth was a problem there.
I think what we've learned too, by the way, is teams that win championships have depth. So
this is something I was thinking about. Is the era of super teams kind of on its way out?
Well, here's the thing though. The super teams that worked had depth. That's the thing. The Warriors had depth.
In order to acquire a superstar team, though, you got to make trades.
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's a difference between trading for players and then teams who make super teams out of signing the players. Because the super teams that worked all signed them.
That's agree. Yes, I
well,
like
think
AD
about the
somehow.
Think about AD obviously, but even then they didn't really lose that much.
Yeah, but like Kevin Durant signed,
it was still an issue. Yeah, but look, so with the Suns, the reason why you have to trade Ayton is one, Ayton is not like a top tier. He's a great rebounder, right? He's just tall, but he's not one of those top tier playmaking centers. So you can replace him with somebody on a vet minimum and basically still have the same setup. So if it was me, I'm trading Ayton and I'm only trading him to get depth. I'm trying to rebuild the entire depth because right now Josh Okogie is in their starting lineup.
Yeah, Okogie. Yeah. So I think, you have an asset like Ayton, and there are a lot of teams that will give up a healthy amount for him. Like if I'm even thinking, well, I guess they make AD play center.
Look what the Timberwolves traded for Gobert.
To have Ayton on their team.
Look at what the Timberwolves traded for Gobert, though. Obviously, it's not going to be that level because that was only somebody who is insane would do that. But you can get a lot for somebody, especially Ayton, because Ayton is still young, and I don't think that he is a superstar player. I don't think that he is going to be the cornerstone of a franchise, but he is a core piece to a building team.
I'm also kind of shocked. DeAndre Ayton hasn't averaged over a block per game since 2020-21 season when they made the fight. Like that's shocking to me. Your 7-foot big man is not getting
now let's take in the next piece of all of this though. Monty Williams isn't the coach anymore.
Yeah, that's another
Frank Vogel is.
Yeah, so Matt Ishbia, I believe I pronounced that correctly,
Ishbia.
The new Suns owner, as you know, he's made some quick changes. Got KD, got rid of Monty, hired Vogel, just went after Beal. So like I remember like when KD got traded to the Suns, like my first thought was like, well, oh shit, here's another super team. But I should have realized after I thought the Nets we're gonna win the ring 2020-21 and KD's foot was on the line and that 3 didn't count. That should have been, the big message to my brain that like KD's not quite a top 3 player in the NBA anymore, and he's not exactly the same guy to build around that people. There are still some NBA analysts.
See, in this situation though,
who's the best player in the world, Jokic or KD? It's like,
all right, let's debate this then. If you have Booker, Beal, and KD, what are the 1, 2, 3?
KD's got to be the 1. Book's probably still the 2. I'm just thinking though that team like.
See, I'm not gonna lie. The way that I'm
Beal
looking at it,
be guarding the point guard. I think I'd.
Well, I'm saying sorry. I should. Okay, because here's the thing. I'm talking about just scoring options. 1, 2, 3 scoring options, like who you're gonna pass the ball to first just to score. My mind, KD cannot be the primary scoring option. And I'm not saying that because he's not the most talented player on the team. He is. But
I'm interested in hearing this point.
Anytime we've seen a team work with KD, i.e. the Warriors, and even when the Nets were doing well with him, he was not the primary scoring option. On the Warriors, he was not the primary scoring option.
Everett, what are you talking about?
Steph Curry was the primary scoring option.
No, he was not.
Steph Curry was the primary scoring option. It was Steph, KD, then Clay.
Everett. I don't want to dive this off onto a tangent because I don't want to be bringing up this exact debate, but those were Kevin Durant's teams in Golden State. They weren't Curry's.
I think that's an arguable fact, but
you can try
that's
to
an
argue.
argument for another day. However,
But
I think that at this
that was
point in
Kevin
his
Durant's team.
I think that at this point in his career, though, we saw what happened when he took control at like on the Nets, and it didn't work out. I think that in order for it to work well, you need to have KD be that second line. You can't have him be the first.
Everett, I think that's blasphemy what you just brought up. This is my one concern right now with this roster construction is when Bradley Beal and Booker have to take a seat, who is ball handling? Who is that point guard with the twos? That's my big question right now. When they
Hold on,
are
I'm going to pull up their depth chart real
who's
quick.
passing? Who is facilitating the offense?
That's
my question.
It is Michael Scott.
Legitimately though,
it is Michael Scott. It's me and you, man.
Out. Like this isn't going to win a championship.
Okay,
like
so right now, here's the first issue that I see. Okay, Terrence Ross is the second string, both small forward and shooting guard. So
I'm gonna be honest.
That's the first issue.
I can see worse things than that. Still not ideal.
So they don't even have enough players to fulfill a starting roster. Let's start there.
Yeah, that's fine. I think most teams as of today do not.
Cameron Payne is the second option at point guard. Cameron Payne's pretty good.
Yeah.
At least off the bench. I'll give him that. Cameron Payne's not bad. Terrence Ross is not ideal. Torrey Craig, who the hell is that? And Jock Landale. Do you know who Jock Landale is?
That last one. Now that one's hilarious. No idea who Jock Landale is.
We have Bismack Biyombo, Ish Wainwright, and Damian Lee. Oh, TJ Warren's there.
Okay, maybe Warren could give them some solid minutes off the bench. Yeah,
he's 29.
They're gonna try to swap Ayton, and I would be trying my ass off to try to get some guards.
Who do you think could trade in all of our basketball knowledge, as obviously we're aficionados of the NBA?
Go after Ayton?
Yeah, who would go after Ayton? Warriors. There's no chance the Warriors do that, right? I would say they
wouldn't go. Well, Warriors are in a weird little stretch of maybe.
I mean, you can give them to OKC. They really want to build the 7-foot plus lineup. So,
I don't exactly know. Maybe they could try some trade with
because here's the thing: a team that's going to trade for Ayton, who has the depth to trade for him, either needs to be in competing mode or is so bad that the thing's essentially a whole rebuild to begin with. That's the issue. The Nets aren't going to trade for him because they already did that trade.
No, that's
you could see maybe the Knicks do that. The Raptors are in absolute.
I was thinking potentially the Knicks. I know they got Mitchell, but
the Raptors are a disaster. So maybe you can get Siakam or something with that. The Spurs won't do it because obviously they're getting Wembanyama. The Mavericks won't do it. They have no reason to. The Clippers, maybe. I don't know who, but Zubac's pretty good.
That's another thing. But shit, if they could somehow, I mean, I wouldn't accept this out of the Clippers, but if they could do
the Bulls or the Hornets, maybe
give up Ayton for Zoobs and Norman Powell. Maybe.
I think Zubac is actually a very good contributor for that team, though. That's
another thing. I'm for example, this is another thing. If you have Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant on your team, your other two players on the court, they don't need to be scorers. They need to play defense. When you have those three players on the court, you're not looking for your fourth or fifth guys to be scoring options. The one thing that I will give the Lakers some credit last year is that Jared Vanderbilt was a perfect guy to play the four because they already had scoring options. Obviously D'Lo didn't end up being scored down the stretch, but
the Hornets.
Yeah. I was thinking Hornets.
Because look, I don't even know who Mark Williams is to begin with. Let me start that off. Like I said, I'm a basketball aficionado.
I only know him because Duke, but
But I could see Kelly Oubre being included in that. You can get, maybe a couple picks or something out of it and trade those around.
I mean, maybe they could do like a PJ Washington, a pick, and then give away Ayton. Or
You could
I mean,
take.
I wouldn't go after Gordon Hayward unless we can
You could do
confirm he's
it.
healthy. But
Yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting. I don't really know who would be a huge market team for that, because a lot of guys have like a pre-established center for the most part. A lot of the teams that I'm looking at, like even the Pacers are terrible, but they have Miles Turner at center. There's going to be no way that they want to trade for DeAndre Ayton.
yeah, and also I just don't think it'd add up for them to go off like
I
they
mean,
got their little Van
The
Halliburton.
Magic could. They have Wendell Carter at center right now.
I
You
mean,
could see
that one I'm not actually crossing off. Like maybe it would be beneficial down the line to have
because I
power
mean, if
play
you do that,
alongside
then look,
Ayton.
you're probably going to get Cole Anthony at a minimum is what I would ask for. And Cole Anthony is actually very good, especially off the bench. So I like that. Maybe get Bull too. So I mean, I'm not out on that, but we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see what
it
happens
comes
with
down to
DeAndre
if the
Ayton.
Magic would want to go after Ayton.
Uh,
Maybe.
Speaking about other players to trade though, Damian Lillard.
Yeah,
Obviously, we'll see what happens with Dame. Maybe something's already happened when this goes up on Tuesday, but the big thing is Dame to Miami. There have been reports that Damian Lillard does not want to leave Portland,
yeah. Like one of
which
the few
happens,
superstars in
I swear
sports
to
that.
God, every year it is Damian Lillard, teams requesting a trade for Damian Lillard, and Dame's like, I do not want to leave.
Yep.
Dude, I understand. Obviously, as a Kobe stan, as a Kobe fan, I get it. Kobe still did request a trade out of Los Angeles at least once. We don't like to mention that part.
No, we didn't.
We don't like to mention
No,
that part.
don't
But
bring that up.
uh,
Don't bring that up.
I'm all for staying on your own team and retiring on the team. But Dame, for God's sake, for the NBA fan base, for Heat's Nation,
And
please, for my enjoyment, please just go to Miami.
Yeah, I like.
If Miami were to get
team
Dame,
would be so cool.
Let's say this: if Miami had Dame in the finals this past year, would they have won?
No, they're not gonna beat the Nuggets. But I do think though they would have been like a 4 seed. Like maybe
do you think
even
that they
3.
would have? Do you think they would have made it further in the series, or you think it still would have been 4-1?
I don't like it's hard to judge it because what Jokic just did is truly absurd.
I don't think that you're going to disagree with this. If Dame goes to Miami, he immediately becomes the first option over Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I think no brainer, of course. Like Lillard last year averaged 34 and 10.
It is very depressing the fact that one, I look like I'm straight out of Twilight right now. I look like I'm in the movie Twilight right now. By the way, I'm like a vampire.
Yeah, you are giving me some like Robert Pattinson vibes, right?
Yeah, it's just fantastic. But seeing Dame drop 50 multiple times and still losing the championships, it's terrible. Dame time.
I recently saw like a quick little snippet. It's Damian Lillard. He dropped like 50 points on 20 shots in a playoff game. That's
no, Damian Lillard's offensive efficiency is absolutely crazy.
It's also like, this is the thing, like if obviously Steph Curry is the greatest shooter ever, but I think I might be ready to say Lillard's too in terms of the depth of shots he takes. And
obviously Dame does not have the historical success or numbers that Steph has. But as just
he shoots so
well,
and he can create his own shot. You know,
it's honestly, obviously we did an underrated players list in the NFL, but if you were to make me do an underrated players list in the NBA, Dame is up there.
I think like overall, like I do.
He doesn't get any credit though.
Respect. I think he does get the respect. I think
he gets respect, but he doesn't get credit.
Yeah, potentially, like if we were gonna limit this to a relatively big name player list of underrated guys, Lillard's up there. I would also, I hate to say it, but Paul George is also up there. He's really good. Like Paul George is playoff P. We all know
pandemic P.
But Paul George is really, really good at that.
No, he is.
Like,
I think that he just like whenever Kawhi's not on the court, people just don't really care.
And it's also like, I think this is another thing. Like, people don't really look this up. I do think when you look at his numbers when Kawhi's hurt for 80% of the game and it's just Paul George for the 60% of the games that he plays in for the year, he's very good when it's just him. Like, he's a bucket. Like, he can be a number one. Like, he could.
I mean, he has been before. Let's clarify that.
True. He did just happen to run up against some LeBron teams when he was on the Pacers, so that was a little bit difficult. But still, I mean,
it was who was on the Pacers with him? Who was on the Pacers?
Early 2010s Pacers. Him, Danny Granger, Roy Hibbert. They had some nice Lance Stevenson when he was blowing in LeBron's ear. They had some fun little teams. The Pacers had some fun teams in the early 2010s. I liked a lot. But last little thing on basketball that I had ever, Draymond Green has declined his player option. I'm also pretty sure it's going to get announced soon that CP3 is going to be released from the Wizards. Just real quick, where are some teams you think you can see these guys go? I want to hear you first, but I got an opinion on one of those players who I think is guaranteed.
Look, I think if it's me, I think Chris Paul. I think a big contender for Chris Paul would be the Timberwolves. I could see them going in on him because they need that veteran leadership, and that's kind of like the same thing. Obviously, not Gary on Conley.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know where that. But Conley, what's his first name? Chris Conley.
Which team?
On the Timberwolves. He was on the Grizzlies, and they got traded to the Timberwolves.
Mike
Conley.
You see, you got your Ohio State Conleys mixed up. Not Gary on Conley, Mike Conley.
Mike Conley. There you go. But Mike Conley's there, and that's kind of the same thing that he did, the same thing that Pat Bev did. I could see that. I could see Chris Paul going back to the Clippers. I could see him ending up on the Kings, have some veteran leadership on the Kings.
I'm not sure if they'll have room for him. That'd be kind of, I think,
it'd be interesting. I can
actually see signing him to be essentially a point guard coach.
The same thing with the Spurs.
I could see
the Spurs doing that.
I think that's actually way better.
With Draymond Green, I could see Draymond honestly just not caring, and he just goes to like the Raptors or something.
I think Draymond Green is almost a 95% lock to be a Los Angeles Laker next year. And hear this out. Like, I think it's almost a guaranteed lock he'll be a Laker.
I actually am going to one-up you. I think he's going to be a Clipper.
Potentially. I will say this. He will be playing in LA. I'm going to say
yes, he will be in the state of California.
Now, obviously, we're going to be talking about some agency shit here, but he's a part of Clutch. Draymond, he's like one of their biggest, like most outspoken clients right now, other than Braun, obviously. But I'll say, going back to the Warriors-Lakers series, I've never seen Draymond Green so reserved and on his best behavior in my life for a playoff series. And that was because his agent and LeBron is who he played against.
That's saying a lot considering the stuff he still did.
And what he did literally the series before was Sabonis. But he literally turned it down so much legitimately overnight going into that series that I think Draymond has even said on his podcast, like before the playoffs began, he was like, this isn't the same Warriors that we used to been. Like he literally said like, yeah, we're done. We're past our like peak and everything.
All right. So let me ask you this. What happens to Clay and Steph next year then?
Because
in my opinion, too, by the way, Clay's kind of washed.
Contract. Yes. Clay's also got a pretty bad contract where I don't think teams would want to pick him up. Like, for like the only scenario where I could see Klay Thompson getting moved off of the Warriors is if they trade him to a complete non-contender team, kind of like what the Wizards just did with CP3 or what the Suns did with CP3
Bradley Beal,
where they would just release him and eat up that salary cap because it doesn't even matter. They're not trying to compete. I think, though, just Golden State Warriors for doing the right thing and doing what's right by your players, though. Let's just run it with Steph and Clay as long as they can. Never get rid of Steph, no matter what.
He'll retire as a Warrior.
And
I also don't think he'd ever want to leave.
I think though, if they're gonna try to keep competing, we got to get rid of Jordan. We'll try to get something.
Have to what now?
Get rid of Jordan Poole and try to get something. Because I mean,
No, I agree with that.
that
You can
dude
get
was
you can get a lot.
literally down the stretch in the fourth quarter. He'd look Steph dead in the eyes and be like, "Nah."
I see Jordan Poole's value
it.
being that basically the same as Tyler Hero's.
I
That's the way I'm
think
looking
it
at
might
both
be
of them.
more like I was hearing that Jordan Poole's value around the league is not.
Now if the Warriors want to throw in free tickets to have women on court side for every game that Jordan Poole plays in for the other team, he might have substantial value.
That'll
He might have substantial value. But don't know if that will happen. Okay.
Okay. You want to kick this over to MLB real quick? And
Let's kick it over to the MLB. We have a lot to talk about in the MLB. Before we get into Dodgers ball, because there's a lot for us to complain about. First thing that I just want to mention is the Oakland A's tweeted out the other day.
Okay. I don't think I saw this, but
they tweeted out the other day. This is when they were playing Philly, and they were like, "Oh, Rebecca Black's cousin, who is from Philly, got to get down on Friday. Like, got to get down on Friday." And they're like, "Rebecca, like
they said Friday, like
Friday, Phir, like Friday." They're like, "Quote Rebecca Black's cousin, who's from Philly," and Rebecca Black responded to their tweet, and she goes, "I don't have a cousin from Philly. Sell the team." I have never seen a team's media post outside of Big Cat clapping them for not posting the score. I have never seen a team get roasted by somebody as hard as the Oakland A's just did.
Yeah, I mean, we got to turn this clock back to the Arizona Cardinals when they didn't post the final score. I believe it was like a week 17, week 16, week 15 game. They did not post the final score for weeks. And when we look at major accounts just getting owned like that one's bad. That one's pretty bad on the A's. Like, I was literally thinking to myself, if you're the intern that runs the A's social media account, like, is that person getting congratulated just for the interactions? Because I think
you're either getting congratulated or you're like in HR right now. There's no in between.
That as well. That as well. I wonder though, like, after we've seen PFF on Twitter, we've seen Fox Sports on Twitter with RJ Young, like, some of these companies, they might actually be rewarding their employees for doing that.
Well, look, the obviously when you get interactions like that, it's like you get so much traction, but also you're the Oakland A's. You already get traction. You are a major baseball team.
True.
Like, if you are a small account that happens, 100%. Like, if that was us and we got Rebecca Black to respond to us,
I'd be so
our unnamed intern would be getting all the bucket hats he could ever wish for.
Oh, yes.
But considering it's not us and it is a Major League Baseball team, that is terrible. Yeah, that is not good. That's like Wendy's roasting you.
Yeah, which, to be honest, I'm not going to disrespect Wendy's because their social media,
they will 100% come after us. 100%.
They're unreal. Like, I honestly would like to go to the Wendy's school of social media to learn about.
They should have a program.
No, straight up, like, they're actually unbelievable. It's truly unprecedented, the times that we're in right now with what they're doing on social media. Yeah, but Oakland A's, they can't stay out of the news for anything negative. They're constantly in the news for doing something egregiously stupid almost every week, it feels like, at this point. But yeah, time for depressing stuff. Okay, Dodgers, we've dropped, I believe, five straight series now. We've dropped 5 straight series. The pitching is truly atrocious.
The record over that time, by the way, do you have the record over that same period of time?
I can hand calc it real quick. Over
it's
that
not
time
good.
period, we are sorry. We are 4-11 over the last 2 series. 4-11, a little bit below a 33.3% win rate. All right. let's start off with this. The bullpen. This is even going back to a couple of those Reds games, some of the worst bullpen chokes I ever seen in my life. And the White Sox one last week. But the bullpen right now, it's essentially non-existent. At this point, I do not know if we can solve this in an offseason or a trade deadline. I'm not sure if we can at this point. It's so bad. It's actually so unbelievable.
So I'm trying to find this tweet that showed the ERA difference from this year and last year, because it is so atrocious, the comparison between where we were at last year with the bullpen and now, that you honestly, it makes no sense how that big of a change physically can occur.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an actual explanation. It's just like the one thing I've noticed following baseball a little bit closely past like decade or so is that relievers, you got like a 2, 3, maybe 4-year shelf life of being really dominant or who you are as a pitcher. And let's just say a couple of these Dodger relievers might be past their primes. For example, our lefties, Fergie and Vesia. And Gonzalez to a degree, even though Gonzalez has been a little bit better. Yeah, we don't have any lefty. We don't have any lefty relievers. We don't have any righty relievers either, other than Evan Phillips. But let's just say that it's not like in past
All
years.
right, here, hold on. Sorry, I found the stat line.
Matchups, and we
I found the stat line. So the Dodgers bullpen regression from 2022 to 2023, the seasons. Okay, yes. Vesia has inflated from a 2.15 to a 7.13. He had a 2.15 last year. Almonte a 1.02 to a 6.52. Filled the wagon Bickford a 4.72 to a 7.33. Ferguson a 1.82 to a 3.46. Phillips a 1.14 to a 2.36. So okay, Gratterall actually went down from a 3.26 to a 2.4 somehow.
Shocking.
Shocking. Yeah, right. And then Martin has gone down from, obviously he's not on the team anymore, but 3.05 to 2.18. That's all we got.
That was a guy that I'm still to this day very upset we let go. Chris Martin was an absolute baller for us, the 6'7" slinger. But hey, we move. All right, let's just talk about some trade deadline moves. So obviously we have pitching problems. They're bad, extremely bad. Let's start with the starting rotation. So as of today, the playoff starters will be Kershaw, Julio, Gonzo, and Bobby Miller. That's what it is today. And if I'm going to be completely honest, that's not the worst thing I've ever heard in my life.
Also, I'm going to be honest. If that's the starting rotation, Bobby's above Gonzo.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see
based off what I've seen so far in the last couple of days. Even though Bobby technically lost, I still put him above Gonzo.
We'll see. We'll see what ends up happening. But the rotation or bullpen now, the bullpen. We have our closer Evan Phillips, even though we like to bring him in whenever 1 through 3 is up in the 7th inning and later. So I guess we don't really have a closer. But other than that, Everett, Brusdar has a 2.4 ERA. Like Shelby Miller's a 2.4 ERA, but I'm not trusting those guys.
No, absolutely not.
Ronald,
absolutely
Acuna,
not.
Sean Murphy, Matt Olson, and shit. I don't trust them to get those outs. So we're gonna if we go for it, we're gonna have to do some serious help to the relievers.
So look, you and I were talking about this. And I think that if anything happens at the trade deadline, it's gonna have to be for a pitcher or a couple pitchers, but they have to be on multi-year contracts, because at this point, it is not worth trading away future prospects for players that may help us even just make the playoffs this year. Because I don't know about you right now, but I am just worried about even making the playoffs.
Yeah, no, like I'd say at this rate, like we probably shouldn't make the playoffs. I am thinking this though, from the Dodger perspective. this isn't like the past 7-8 years. We're at the deadline. There's a couple of key holes that we can fix with a player or two. This year, to fix the holes, we're going to legitimately need to pull a 2021 Braves and go trade after 4 dudes that'll help our team. Like 2021 Braves traded for Jock, Eddie Rosario, Jorge Soler, and one other. I'm like, but like they went all in and they got a lot of players all around. Dodgers, thank God we can score.
Let me ask you this: Do you think the Dodgers would be sellers on anybody? Because obviously that's unexpected. Because Dodgers are either always stationary or they're buyers. You don't think that they'd be sellers for anybody?
No, but shit. I mean, I would not. I actually wouldn't hate trading Julio.
So
I don't think he's signing no matter what. I wouldn't hate that.
If you were Andrew Friedman, obviously Julio's only got 1 season left, right? If you were Andrew Friedman, what would you try to get for Julio?
A king's ransom. He's one of the best lefty pitchers in the game. So much. It'll be fun if the tables turn and now we're the ones selling. That'd be kind of interesting.
Speaking of Freeman and those, also to note, obviously the Shohei Ohtani sweepstakes are on alert right now. But in my opinion, with the Angels on like 3 games out, they're actually I think they're going to be buyers this trade deadline,
so too.
And they're going to be trying to compete because. Well, let's all be honest here. We've seen the Angels kind of start off hot a couple of years, like start off the first couple weeks hot, but we have never seen the Angels be at the midseason and actually still be like kind of capable.
Yeah, no, I'm shocked that right now, like I think they're I believe it's 8 games above 500, 41.
Yeah, and they're what 3 games back of their division right now, I think.
Maybe, but they're just it's an interesting year in the AL West because the Stros, they're kind of in the same boat as us. They're also 3rd in the AL West right now. The Rangers are actually in 1st, which is kind of like the surprising Rangers in a way.
A little bit. But yeah, so the Angels are 4.5 games back. Their series upcoming is versus the Dodgers, funny enough. Nice. In a side note, I told you this, I think that given the way the playoffs ended last season and given the situation the Dodgers are in right now, I think that Dave Roberts is coaching for his job.
That's something
because we have had this debate for several seasons. We've had this debate for several seasons whether or not we think Dave Roberts is the problem and why we can't win. And I think that showing how last playoffs decision making ended up costing us a series. And on top of that, the way that the situation the team is in right now.
I wouldn't say it was the decision. I wouldn't say it was Dave.
It was partially the decision making, the decision making.
Maybe, but I mean, at the end of the day, Trey Turner, let's hit a baseball. I'd say that's the reason we got found.
Yeah, I mean, none of them could hit baseballs. Let's be honest. But
this is one thing though. I'm a slightly pushed back. Dave Roberts, this isn't even his fault. If I'm gonna be like, this actually isn't his fault. Like,
you don't think it's on the coaching staff
Dave
at
Roberts
all?
Has said he's been much more animated post-game this year compared to years past, where his post-game quotes, he is now specifically calling out players by name, saying he just needs to be better. And this is the thing. Like, in the past, I was always, dude, Dave Roberts, what the hell? Holy shit. At this point, Dave's kind of got a point. Like, these relievers have to be better. Like you cannot essentially give up a run every time you go out there. Like at some point, the pitchers just got to start producing. Like, do we have the personnel to do that right now? Maybe not. That's fair point. I'm not going to put this all on Dave. I don't think Dave is the problem here. Like, in my opinion,
you don't think that it's any
7 ERA.
You don't think that it's any fault of the coaching staff and the pitching staff for the situation we're in right now? Because that inflation had to have come from somewhere. It doesn't make sense for every pitcher that is relieving for it to inflate.
ERAs are up.
No, it has, but to be up by 5 points on average,
it's unacceptable. Don't get
that is something that obviously the pitchers have one thing, and that obviously we know it's a juice to ball year according to the juice ball theory.
I'm not like that as well, but also this pitch clock is screwing with
it is, but it doesn't make sense for it to be 5 points because we haven't seen that in any other pitchers across the league on average for
No,
an entire bullpen to go up that much.
For a whole bullpen.
We haven't seen that because that is on coaching. Everybody. That is on coaching.
Maybe
there's a correlation there that you can't just be like, okay, every pitcher, like obviously we expect things to go up because of the situation in it, but by that much, there has to be something else going on behind the scenes that is like pitching staff, recovery, training staff, something that is correlated to why the Dodgers pitchers are so much worse. Obviously, they just suck in general, but there has to be something on top of that because if we get somebody else in here at the deadline and they also suck, that tells me it's a coaching problem.
Maybe. Baseball is a weird sport, though. Like,
I mean, yeah, it is. But I don't know too much about the Dodgers pitching staff, like their coaching staff in general. But is it just one pitching coach, or is there reliever and closer coaches?
No, there's multiple. But I mean, Mark the Shark, Mark Pryor's the king. This is what I'll say. Like Mark Pryor, like. I literally give this man credit for turning Andrew Heaney and Tyler Anderson into $20 million men. To this day, that's wizardry that I'll never be able to truly understand or process. But at the same time, it's not on Mark the Shark. Like, it's not Mark Pryor's fault that Caleb Ferguson and Alex Vesia are hanging sliders over the middle. Like,
no, but
you're missing.
That is true. Like what you do in game, obviously, if a player decides to throw that pitch, that is on them. But the coaching on the control of the pitches, of the placement that you work on outside of the game, that's something that he should be better at fixing.
No, true, but like, I mean, Everett, easy.
I don't disagree with you. I agree that wherever the pitches are placed during the game, etc., that's on the player, but it is still on the coach to be able to fix that when you're practicing.
Well, obviously they're trying to work out, but we can't blame Mark Pryor when Alex Vesia hangs a slurve over the middle. That's not Mark Pryor's fault. That's Alex Vesia being a fucking moron.
Dude, tell Mark Pryor to get out there during the game and just pitch himself. Like, tell him to do it himself.
This is another thing. We got screwed with the starters. The Dustin May injury was very bad, where right now our starters, we can't really go that deep into games.
What I will say is without the Dustin May injury, Bobby Miller is not playing this
year. Yeah, most likely, yes.
So I obviously we don't.
He might have still
found obviously. Well, we called it Gavin Stone first, so I don't know, but I think that it's been a rough year. It's been an off year, and we've had everything started with Gavin Lux tearing his ACL. That kind of symbolized
of all time.
That kind of symbolized where the season was going. But I do think that to not knock the coaches at least a little bit is entirely wrong. I think that if you don't knock the coaches for the situation we're in, then that is also a problem, because the coaches, their whole job is to fix the situations that we get ourselves in like this. Like if a player like Alex Vesia is hanging a slider over the middle, that is on the coaching staff to be like, hey, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Why the fuck are we doing this?
But this is the thing. Alex Vesia also clearly doesn't want to throw. He also doesn't want to hang the slider. It's just, this year, he can't pitch when the moments are on. Like, I feel like confidence matters so much.
No, I agree, but I'm also just a believer.
Guys have gotten rocked.
I'm also just a believer in there having to be a correlation when there's something that big and bullpen wide, because that just doesn't make sense to me.
No, like, unacceptable.
Unless like there's been the Dodgers pitching staff has been doing something the same way for so long that now that every team's just finding out what the fuck they do and they're just rocking them. Like,
yeah, no, they found a slider attack. I mean, that's really what it came down to. But like that's the joke I've been making like past couple of years, that Mark Pryor, his spider tack plug is way better than any other leagues. The other thing that I will admit, if there's one thing that is deathly concerning to me about the pitching staff, is that even though, take out this year, just talk from 2016 to 2020, 2020, 2021, 2020, we still had like top 3 ERAs in baseball, but our K9 has significantly decreased from 2016 to now. Just team average. We're not getting as many strikeouts as we used to get. And that concerns me.
I also
Another thing
feel
that I
though
don't
that's
understand is how Brusdar Gratterall's 102-mile-an-hour sinker with like 9 inches of movement is one of the most hitted pitches in all of MLB.
There's some things that don't end up. I do think as a general, the entire league has shifted a little bit more towards less strikeouts.
I would slightly push back because everyone's trying to hit bombs now. Like
No,
the
everybody
strikeouts are up league wide.
Everybody is, but I also think that that's why people are getting more contact, and it's just you're trying to hit it for depth rather than for actual like contact to get on base, and that's why they're just kind of popping out.
Yeah, I mean everyone's just trying to hit bombs right now. But
That's
like I'm thinking about like
I think
Max
you
Muncy.
can go either way with that. I think
like
that's fair.
Max Muncy on a 2-strike count. Oh my god, he's swinging out of his shoes still. It's like holy shit. Like
oh yeah.
But that concerns me. The strikeout being down.
We'll see what happens with the Dodgers. Did you end up getting to watch Emmett Sheehan pitch?
Very solid debut, actually. Very, very solid. Like it's
so here's my
something that
here's
I
my
was
question.
Also saying. Like when you call up a rookie for a game, there's absolutely no scouting report on it.
He was the Dodgers 13th ranked prospect, right? I think he was 13th.
I don't have.
I'm pretty sure he was a reliever on the Drillers. I don't know if he was a starting pitcher. So if it's me, I honestly fuck it. Let's leave him up there as a reliever at this point. I know that we need starting players in the starting rotation, but having somebody who is done like bring in the rookies. Let's see what they can do.
I'm not entirely sure. I would guess, or he was a starter. He was
a starter on the Drillers.
No, he had a very nice start. If there's one thing I was concerned about, he was getting a lot of hard hit flyouts that just happened to go right.
Let's move him to reliever. Let him pitch 2 innings, 3 in the middle of the game.
Maybe it's different coming out of the pen versus starting. Like it definitely
so many mental. It definitely is because obviously you've now built up everything, and these players have been playing for a little bit now, right? But at the same time, let's look like, can it be worse than Alex Vezia? Can it be worse than Caleb? Can it be worse than Almonte right now?
I'd like to think no. You know,
let's put it this way. Yeah, if he gets blown up, blown up immediately, he's gonna have what a 7-8 ERA at worst, right?
So well, if we're talking just that game 1 getting blown up,
it's gonna be higher. It's gonna be way higher. But per average, what that 7 ERA is, right? He's going to let up about the same amount of runs. So I'd rather see him, what he does coming out of the bullpen rather than letting one of these guys who clearly do not have it this year continue.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of things we got to do. There's a lot of decisions to be made. This is kind of where I'm at right now, trade deadline wise. If we are going to be in this position right now where we need to revamp the entire bullpen, we also need to add in a starter. Thank God hitting wise, like, for the most part, we're 4th in MLB in runs per game right now. So like hitting wise, we're okay. But I mean, we'd obviously still want a shortstop. You know, like there's obviously some positions we'd still wish we'd have.
Look,
considering the holes we have this year, Everett, I don't think you're going to like this, but I think we shouldn't do anything at the trade deadline.
I think an L. Look, I don't disagree with you on that fact. I think you just take this year in stride. But what I do think is, one, you don't trade for a shortstop because Rojas, while he still hasn't been great, you have Lux coming back.
At shortstop.
He's a good, not a good hitter, but he is good at the position. Yeah. And you have Gavin Lux coming back, who obviously we were all super excited to watch this year before he tore his ACL.
I mean, if Gavin Lux tears ACL in November, I bet we have a different shit going on right now.
No, yeah, I agree that you have to start
quickly. Like,
yeah. But so with that said, I don't think you go shortstop. Second base, which has been an issue, I still don't think you do anything about that right now. You say that with whatever. I do think
maybe, even though Peralta's been on fire right now.
Yeah, I think the only thing that the Dodgers should go after is the bullpen.
We need to solve literally 5 relievers right now, which I don't.
And I think that the only thing that you should be trading, if Shohei's available, send everything for him.
That's
send
different.
everything.
You know,
send
three
everything
next
for
to
him.
that. That's
I want to
way
roll out
different
the
thing.
red carpet for him. All right, we're
That's
rolling
way
out the red carpet
yeah.
across Anaheim into Dodger Stadium. All right,
right across the 105. Is that the freeway?
105. Yeah. But considering that's not going to happen, the only trades that I'll be making are going to be for players on multi-year contracts that are relievers.
Yeah, the thing is,
because we don't even have a closer right now. There is no designated closer at this point, to be honest. So
like, if we're going to go after, the only guy I can kind of think of top of my head that I'm pretty sure has some more years left is Devin Williams. I could check it. I'll check it real quick. I would guess he has another year, maybe two.
And look, I'll be honest too. I will even trade some stuff for prospects. If we're gonna get some reliever prospects, I'll go with that too.
If we're going to go after a big name, Devin Williams, he doesn't hit free agency till 2026. So we'll have 2 more seasons of him. We'll have to give up more. We will. Don't get me wrong.
But I mean, for a reliever that is proven and that's one of the biggest like holes, you will have to give up more, but it's still not going to be as much as what it would have been if we did everything else.
Also the thing is, like, we have 7 pitchers with sub 3 ERAs in AA. I know Sheehan we just called up. Yes, it's 6, but not all 6 of those guys are going to play for the Dodgers one day. If I were to guess, maybe 2 of them do. So we might as well trade them if we're going to go after like Devin.
I mean, shit. Let's just call them all up and make them all relievers. We'll see how that goes.
Potential. I like that.
My God.
The other thing I was thinking about this year is that, like, Michael Busch, he's a 25, 26-year-old infielder / outfielder.
Didn't he get called up? He got called up the other day, right?
A little bit. For like, they call him up.
He goes up and down.
He doesn't start. He sits on the bench and might get a
Jay Cave. He's the Jay Cave of the Dodgers.
If we're not going to utilize him, he's a top 30 prospect in baseball. We might as well trade him. I mean, why keep him? He's 25. Like, his value.
Look, the only prospects that are currently on the minors that we can't trade,
Bobby Miller and Cartaya.
Well, I don't count Bobby Miller because Bobby Miller's on. We're gonna just assume that he's on the team at this point. Yeah. Right. The only untradeable player probably is Cartaya. Everybody else,
just him right now.
Everybody else, fine. If it's what it takes, fine.
I do think though, like, at the end of the day, if we have to give up too much for a Devin Williams, then I'd honestly rather stay put.
I would be completely happy trading away Gavin Stone, Michael Busch, and maybe a pick or 2 and go from there.
Yeah, if we did Stone, Busch, and then a AA reliever for someone,
fine.
Let's go.
Fine.
Fuck it.
Fine. Okay. Moving on to the NFL.
Thinking about them. Oh, I got some quick college football news.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Little recruiting update. So past weekend, some big official visits going down. Michigan, Ohio State had some large parties. By parties, I mean, they had many recruits on campus for their official visits last weekend. So we'll start off with the good guys. 5-star DN Edric Houston has been crystal balled to Ohio State. Everett. I was thinking this a little bit. I was thinking LJ might have lost his fastball when it came to edge recruiting recently. But don't doubt LJ. Don't doubt LJ. There was a healthy amount of negative recruiting going on because he told Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau, who are going into their junior years, could go to the NFL after this season. He told them to, I can confirm that I will be at Ohio State for your careers. I don't have any promises after that. So Larry Johnson has gone on record saying, like, he is considering retirement. He is considering calling it quits. I believe he's in his 60s right now as an edge coach. Like, if I were him, I think I'd be getting ready to call it quits too. I think I'd be getting fed up with some of Chase Young's bullshit here and there. But LJ has made some splashes. So Edric Houston has been crystal ball to Ohio State. Also at the visit was 5-star defensive end Dylan Stewart, top 10 player in the class, and one of Ohio State's lead 24/7 insiders, Bill Kurelic, says he's very close to putting in his crystal ball for Stewart to Ohio State. There's a couple things still in the way before he wants to fully do that. But also, Everett, Edric Houston's teammate, who I would say is a lock to go to Ohio State at this point. His teammate, KJ Bolden, who is a 5-star safety, currently crystal balled to Georgia, also said that he was extremely impressed by Ohio State on their visit. But I'm not expecting to get that guy to come to OSU. However, Georgia currently has 3 top 100 safeties committed to them in the class of 2024. If I'm KJ Bolden, why not go to Ohio State where they don't have any top 100 safeties committed? And it is your team. But hey, that's up to him. That's up to him. But let's talk about Michigan. This is the more fun part, Everett. Borderline 5-star running back Taylor Tatum, who is the top ranked running back in the class from Texas, was crystal balled to go to Michigan for about 2 to 3 months up until this weekend, Everett. The new favorite to land 5-star running back Taylor Tatum is USC. I don't know how they swept in and got into these sweepstakes, getting a Texas running back, but USC is now recruiting Texas, Everett. To be honest, it should have already been a surprising shock enough that Michigan was putting in work on a Texas recruit, but USC swiped in and mopped that one up. But last thing, Everett, this is the danger zone. This is the nervous part of the recruiting segment. Ohio State's their 2 biggest cornerback targets and 2 biggest targets in the state of Ohio, actually, Aaron Scott and Bryce West, just finished up their official visits at Michigan this past weekend.
Okay.
Aaron Scott, afterwards, I heard from him that he's looking forward to the Ohio State visit and that he's excited to see what they say, a pretty generic answer. But I kind of took that to a degree of he's still leaning towards Ohio State. However, Everett, the other cornerback, Bryce West, who goes to Glenville. And Glenville, their head coach is Ted Ginn Sr., father of Ted Ginn Jr., who went to Glenville. Okay. Glenville is an Ohio State pipeline. If you go to Glenville and you're good, if you get the Ted Ginn Sr. check of approval, you're going to Ohio State. In recent memory, the best Glenville prospect that went to Ohio State that's in the league is that guy, Marshawn Lattimore. I'm not sure if you ever heard.
Not sure. Yeah, I don't really know. All I do know is he is Adam Thielen's son. So,
well, there's some other things to talk about, but he is Mike Evans' father. So
he is Mike Evans' father.
At least
he does have that.
But after his recruiting trip, Everett, Bryce West from Glenville scheduled another visit to Michigan in 2 weeks. So that one's a little bit concerning to me.
Yeah, well, you never look. Here's the deal.
This might
we're
be
talking
some talk.
This class also. I mean, it is Bujat.
Huh?
But this class, like, because it's so far out, still, like, these are things that just happen.
Kind of, but right now it's picking up. Like,
no, it is. Don't get me wrong, and I'm about to have something to shout out too. But this is just kind of what every athlete does whenever you're trying to leverage. That's the whole point. Is they want to leverage.
Legitimately. I was going to say, if I'm Bryce West, I would have scheduled that second Michigan visit to tell Ohio State I want more NIL money.
No, literally, that's the whole thing right now. Yeah, it's business. With NIL, it literally is all business, and that's the whole point. Is you are leveraging to get the best deal physically possible for not only for you to start and play in playing time, but also for money.
It's professional sports now. It is professional sports now. I remember we were joking about Oregon, like, oh, they got rid of their 3 4-stars to free up NIL room to get the 5-star quarterback. No, that did happen. Like that actually.
What I do want to say is I don't remember what the kid's name was last year who got NIL money and then retired immediately afterwards that we thought was going to destroy NIL
on LSU. Yeah.
But props to him because we thought he was going to ruin the entire thing and still have not seen that happen yet. Props to the NCAA.
Yeah, honestly, shout out him.
The only other thing before we get to the NFL and finish with that, the one thing I want to do is I want to shout out Tulane real quick. Tulane recruiting. Tulane has officially landed their best recruit ever, a 4-star, 8-9 rated linebacker out of Daytona Beach. Obviously, there's still time, but as of right now, he is hard committed to Tulane. I could not be prouder right now. I could not be prouder. That is massive. Right, when you get somebody who's a borderline 5-star like that.
Whoa, borderline 5-star. Who? What's his name?
Rodney Hill.
Borderline 5-star. I'm not sure about that one, but
4-star. 4-star. But you also never know how these fluctuate as they play their senior season. But that is massive for recruiting, especially if you're a program like Tulane, because once you get that first 4-star, then you get all of the rest of them. Once you get that first 5-star, then you can start getting 5 stars. And that's how you start to get better at recruiting is you get a lot of 3 stars, some 2 stars, some 1 stars. But once you get that first 4 or 5-star, then you actually start getting way more. And that's how you start elevating your program. And I love to see this. So I just want to give a round of applause to Tulane on that one.
Yeah, no, big news. Tulane carrying over some momentum in the offseason, beating USC, picking it up on the recruiting trail. That's what we like to see. Maybe some other teams like Michigan could try to copy Tulane a little and, carry some success into recruiting. But hey,
okay.
We're not here to point fingers. We're not here.
Let's wrap up with, actually you have you have a list, I believe,
so
unless you want to save
that I got. I think this is gonna anger some people. So I want to drop it this week. I think this is gonna get some people mad, which is the goal of this list. I want to get people mad here. But yeah. These are the greatest college football teams of the 21st century, 2000 and later. My number one rule is that all the teams, they had to have won a national championship. I was considering throwing some non-natty winners on there, but the number one stipulation is that all these teams won a national championship. So these are the 10 greatest teams. 10 greatest college football teams of the 21st century. 2001 Miami, 2019 LSU, 2004 USC, 2018 Clemson, 2005 Texas, 2022 Georgia, 2008 Florida, 2011 Alabama, 2013 Florida State, and 2015 Alabama. You guys do not know how hard it was for me to not put 2014
let's
Ohio
clear
State
that was
on that
that was
list.
1 to 10, right? That was not 10 to 1. That was 1 to 10.
Oh shit, that was 1 to 10. That was bad. Let me redo that. But yes, that was 1 to 10. Good call. Actually, no, Miami's last. 2015 Bama's the best team.
Hey, I just had to check.
Yo, good call. I did just forget that. Okay. 2015 Alabama, 2013 Florida State, 2011 Alabama, 2008 Florida, 2022 Georgia, 2005 Texas, 2018 Clemson, 2004 USC, 2019 LSU, 2001 Miami. Okay, real quick. Even after saying it, I still actually think that 2022 Georgia should be over 05 Texas. And this is my reasoning. There's only 3 teams in the history of college football to go 15-0. 2019 LSU, 2018 Clemson, and 2022 Georgia. That deserves some credit. Going 15-0 is ridiculous.
They kind of have a cupcake schedule, but we can move on from that.
Who did?
Georgia at the end of the season kind of had cupcake schedule, but
kind of. I mean, to a degree, but I mean, they had to go through some teams still. 15-0 is not easy to do.
No, it's not. I know it's not. But
I mean, the big asterisk is LSU instead of Bama in the SEC championship game. If they had to go through Bama, then it would have been a little different.
Yeah. Also, they technically shouldn't have won that Ohio State game, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah.
You can play them as an honorable mention because I guarantee you the comments are all going to be like, well, where's Georgia? Because people still think Stetson Bennett's one of the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time.
Well,
so you'll still get
I do have Georgia in there. I was wondering if they get
over Texas though. Yeah.
I was looking at that Texas team and
okay.
I was shocked how many people I knew.
Let's bounce over to the NFL and end on this because we have been ripping for a while.
Yeah, shout out the debate that we embraced something about the NBA. I forgot what it was, but yeah, go on. Oh yeah, we went over trade partners for DeAndre Ayton. A little bit of a waste of time, but that's all right.
A little bit. That's fine. First things first, Aaron Rodgers refused a trade to the Patriots. Apparently, obviously, he's on the Jets now.
He wins a point in my book.
Do you think, though, that Aaron Rodgers and Bill Belichick would have been compatible at all? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not.
It's like obviously Brady must have a big ego. He has 7 Super Bowl rings.
But
put it aside, at least for Sundays.
You want to know what this tells me, though? The Patriots are out on Mac Jones. obviously we've been thinking about it for a while, but
Oh,
we've had no clerical evidence that the Patriots were going to try and move on from him. This specifically tells me after maybe this year, maybe it's next year, whatever, but at least his rookie contract's up. Mac Jones is not going to be starting for the Patriots anymore, and probably won't be a starting quarterback in the NFL, maybe a backup, but will definitely not be a starter.
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, I think Mac Jones would be a phenomenal investment banker. He has the look, he has the haircut, he's got the charisma too. While
he's got the Nantucket, summer.
Oh yeah,
summer
no,
vibes.
the Vineyard Vines,
Vineyard Vines vibes. Yeah,
he's got it.
I can see him lounging on one of those wooden lawn chairs with the grass all perfectly mowed on his lakeside cabin out on, I don't know, somewhere in the
I don't know exactly where he'd reside, to be
northeast, somewhere in the northeast. Vineyard Vine shirt's great.
Yeah, Max out in New England. I think that's a little mini takeaway we could have.
Yeah.
We'll see if he could pull a Daniel Jones and revive his career there. Probably not, but
I wouldn't even consider Daniel Jones' career officially revived yet.
Oh, me neither, but ask Giants fans and they'll tell you.
Oh yeah, no, they think he is the next coming of Joe Namath.
So funny. It's like, holy shit, literally 12 months ago, you guys had a completely different opinion on him. All right.
If 12 months ago I told you signed him to a $50 whatever million extension,
yeah, no,
you probably would have had a heart attack on the spot.
100%.
But another thing, Bears apparently are not happy with Chase Claypool right now. I know you had something specific to talk about this. The thing I'd like to say out of all of this is they gave him a first round pick basically for him.
I think it was a first round pick.
The 32nd overall pick, but technically the first round was 31. So give or take.
Last
year,
yes.
But
yes, it was. Shout out Stephen Ross and the Miami Dolphins. But Michigan booster, by the way. But yes, only way I remember.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something about.
I was going to say another thing about Stephen Ross, but I held my.
I thought you were going to say something about Chase Claypool, not Stephen Ross.
Sorry, you got me off the topic. Chase Claypool. I forgot the exact tweet. I was trying to look up the exact stats, but Claypool, the Steelers, after trading Claypool, had a better record, and the Bears, before acquiring Chase Claypool, had a better record. So. I mean, hey, I'm not saying it, but Chase Claypool is the reason you lose. Hey, I didn't say it, but I said it. Yeah, I mean, what the hell?
No, for real,
Claypool. I mean,
a second round pick, a first round pick for Chase Claypool.
Yeah, like, come on, what are we talking about?
Joey Porter Jr. for Chase Claypool.
Yeah. I'll look in the mirror about that one, guys. But
don't forget that. What's the Bears GM name again?
God, Ryan Poles.
Yeah. Don't forget Ryan Poles drafted a 25-year-old wide receiver last year. Or was it technically 2 years ago now?
Velus Jones?
Yeah. 25-year-old rookie wide receiver.
He'll be good with Justin, draft a veteran presence in the locker room.
It's like Stetson Bennett. Okay. And other news, just quickly, Patrick Mahomes owned the shit out of Jamar Chase.
You could talk about
we all
this
expected.
One. I have no comment.
It really is not important. Jamar Chase is basically just saying he doesn't know who Patrick Mahomes is as a joke, and then Patrick Mahomes says that's who with the picture of his 2 Super Bowl rings.
I'll be honest, real quick. Now that you brought it up, I had a nightmare the other day that Mahomes had 3 rings, like literally a nightmare.
He will get there, I guarantee.
I know, but I thought it was now, and oh my God, I literally woke up in cold sweats. Like, does he have? Oh my God, it's only 2. Oh, thank God.
Other thing that.
I mean, my boogeyman's already worse than yours. Mine has 2.
Yeah, I at least have that one. My boogeyman was just annoying, but
yeah, your boogeyman was just
at least my boogeyman was generational though. I had 2 full decades, I had multiple decades of boogeymen. Plural.
Yeah, no. I mean, the good thing is my boogeyman, Loki, sucks ass and he's overrated as shit.
Yeah, you have decades of boogeyman tight ends, but Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah. Tony gets a little special.
I think we might save this for next episode as a little teaser here, but we were talking about obviously Stephon Diggs wanting to play call help play call with the Bills.
Yeah, I think we might be better off saying this for next time.
That's going to get saved for next
That's
episode.
hilarious.
It is hilarious, and that has inspired us to make a new list of the top 10
players
non-quarterback that play callers that should
get play calling. Some say in it.
But to wrap up the episode, I have 2 lists here. I'm going to do one that's specifically NFL related, and then if we want another list, I will do one that's overall. Otherwise, okay. So first things first, top 10 backup running backs in the NFL. Obviously, there's a big fantasy implication here because that's really the biggest importance of backup running backs to most people. But I still think that it's good to have because of how everything is set up in the NFL, especially by running back by committee right now.
I mean, if you threw Kareem Hunt on this list, I would accept it. Just going to let you know that.
I did not include any free agent running backs. And what I will also say, there are no rookie running backs on this list.
Okay.
So I'm specifying that right now. 10-1. There's going to be one player on here that is 50-50 running RB1, RB2. So we can talk about that. And you'll know it when I say it. But 10-1, here we go. Wait, all right. Samaje Perine, Zamir White, Devin Singletary, Rashad Penny, Jeff Wilson Jr., David Montgomery, Donta Foreman, Gus Edwards, Tyler Algier, and A.J. Dillon.
Now, I'm not sure if Gus Edwards was the one you were hinting at.
It was Jeff Wilson.
I'm definitely afraid I ended his career at Everett.
He played last year.
All right,
he played last year. He started last year.
Okay, I truly believe I ended his career. You know what? Okay.
He did pretty well when he was playing last year with J.K. Dobbins.
It's the games played I'm looking at, but average 5 yards per carry. That's really what you got to look at here.
Pretty good.
So you know what, Gus Bus, I'm happy that I know he didn't end his career.
Do not draft him in the 5th round, please.
No.
Do not do that. The one that I was specifically talking about that are kind of murky is Jeff Wilson Jr. Obviously, this is assuming that David Achane, whatever the hell you want to say his last name, I don't care. That he's going to be the starting running back there. Obviously, they have Raheem Mostert too, I'm pretty sure. But I'm assuming that Jeff Wilson technically will be the RB2, Rashad Penny as well. There's not really a defined RB1 with the Eagles right now, even though they have DeAndre Swift and him. I'm assuming it's going to be DeAndre Swift. That's why Penny's too.
Okay. Yeah, so, I think, overall, I'm not and also, is Alvin Kamara currently signed to the Saints, or is it just
Alvin Kamara is still there? They signed Jamal Williams, but they also have Kendra Miller, and I don't know who's technically the two.
There's that, but also I legitimately think that God damn it, Kamara and Jamal Williams combined might be 50% of the offense. It might not. No, the RB2 might be getting more targets than the wide receiver 2 in that.
That's not wrong. The thing is, I think that Kendra Miller is going to end up being the RB2 over Jamal Williams. I think Jamal Williams just gets goal line carries. So that's why I haven't seen Kendra play, and obviously he's coming off injury, and then Jamal Williams. Obviously, if he was the sole RB2, if he was the designated RB2 right now, he would be up on this list. He'd probably be in the top 5, if not 2 or 1. But I just don't know the depth chart on that team, and it's when the depth chart comes out like that, then yeah. But I legitimately think Kendra, from the Saints fans I've talked to, Kendra Miller is going to end up being the RB2.
Okay. All right. Yeah, no, I think some names there like Zamir White, I'm a big fan of, even though it's Raiders. Yeah, I like that a lot. Also
honorable mention,
I'm a fan of.
We'll just say this, honorable mention, Tajay Spears. Let's throw that out there too.
Yeah, he doesn't count as a rookie. He's essentially a veteran. So yeah.
Okay. And then the last thing for this episode, our pride and joy, the worst franchises in all of American sports as of right now.
Okay.
We're going to go 10-1 on this list. It's going to be controversial, but it's going to be
Right now.
Great.
Right now. As of 2023, June 19th.
20th, whatever.
20th when it comes out, yes.
All right. Lions, Royals, Wizards, Hornets, Pirates, Commanders, Coyotes, Browns, Angels, A's.
Yep. So Everett and I, we a little bit of back and forth going through this list. Obvious, if we're talking today, the A's got to be one. A's got to be one, and I think the Angels deserve the number 2 spot as well. Considering, well, for completely different reasons, the A's are there because of what they haven't done, and the Angels are there for what they have and haven't been able to do. So
exactly.
A little bit different, but still both very disappointing in very different ways.
Having like we've argued this on the podcast before, and we literally made, I think it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, where we were like realizing maybe the Angels really are a worse overall franchise than the A's because of the fact they can't make the playoffs, and the A's have made playoffs and they have won multiple championships.
We did confirm that since Mike Trout has been a starter for the Angels, that the A's have made the playoffs 6 more times than the Angels. That's crazy.
But let's look through the rest of the list here. Browns, I don't think anything needs to be said there. 0-16, one of the worst franchises to ever exist.
We can just leave it right there.
That is perfect. I think people are going to be arguing that the Browns are too low. I think that they need to be higher up on the list. They need to be a 2 or 1.
We'll see.
Coyotes, if you're not an NHL fan, not a puckhead. Coyotes have been one of the most disastrous franchises since they've been born. They're in Phoenix, they're in Arizona. They currently do not have a stadium, and they might just be abolished entirely in the NHL. Commanders, Dan Snyder, thank you very much. Pirates, you can take that one.
Pittsburgh. Now, this one was a little bit stranger and different to really deal with. If we take a 10-year look, then yeah, I think it's fair. If we're looking like right now, this year, right now. The one thing I will give the Pirates is that they have drafted some pretty well. They've gotten some guys in spots, like O'Neal Cruz is hurt right now. Well, they didn't draft him. Well, I mean, we gave O'Neal Cruz to them, but they're actually doing some pretty solid stuff. Henry Davis, I know he was their top catching prospect. He just got called up. Yes, they're on here. Like, they are on here, but there's some bright spots around there. Like,
no, they have bright spots. The thing is,
Hayes.
The Pirates have a tendency to get any good player and then trade them away.
Yeah, like, for example, McCutchen is now back on the Pirates, and that wasn't wasn't a big time acquisition. But
so things are looking up. Let's clarify that. But as a general note of the history that has happened up to this day, right now, memory, recency bias. The Pirates are astronomically terrible.
Yeah.
Hornets, obviously not much to say there. Michael Jordan's now selling the team.
I was considering moving them up even a little bit too, like now when I reflect. But Charlotte, they have a LaMelo Ball. They have a star at least.
And that is it. That is it.
Yeah, before that, I mean, they had, some real superstars in like Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. Cody Zeller was drafted by the Bobcats.
Kobe Bryant was drafted by the Hornets.
That's one of the biggest bag fumbles ever.
That adds into this.
I'm pretty sure they traded away Kobe Bryant for Vlade Divac and one other player, if I have that correct.
I think Jerry West was the GM of the Hornets at that point in time, too, by the way.
Well, I did not know that detail.
I call it an inside job. It's an inside job.
Well, in that case, we love you, Jerry.
Yeah, we love you, Jerry. Wizards, what have the Wizards ever done?
They arguably should have been higher up too. They should have been.
Maybe in post, put the Wizards above the Pirates here. Just cut them, put them up there above the Pirates. Royals obviously won a chip, but outside of that, they're absolutely terrible. And then the Lions, one of the historical franchises in the NFL, have fumbled multiple NFL Hall of Fame careers and have never been to the Super Bowl. So
yeah,
they're good right now, though. They're doing pretty good right now, but we'll see.
No, to be completely honest, we're going into not this last season, but 2 seasons ago. Like, we were joking, like, the Lions, the Lions might actually have a top 5 offense in the NFL. Just take away Jared Goff. But now Jared Goff is good. So, like, what the Lions have been able to do is extremely impressive. Of course, I mean, TJ's not there anymore, so maybe they lose some firepower. But their offensive skill positions are nuts.
What is it? Laporta is going to be fine. He's going to be good.
Yeah, when in doubt, just take an Iowa tight end. You know, like just take an Iowa tight end.
Tight end, you
probably be fine.
All right. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching, listening. Rate us 5 stars. You can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, Twitter, and on Instagram at WaterboyPod. Make sure to follow me and Grant on Twitter at Everett and at Waterboy Grant. Make sure to subscribe, like, favorite, follow, and download all of our content. Make sure to just, show your parents. Let's have a nice 4th of July playing the Waterboy podcast over our speakers on all the boats, on the lakes, on the beaches, fireworks. Be safe. But let's share the love. Let's share the Waterboy.
Yeah, and remember, 4th of July Waterboy bucket hats. They will be dropping soon, so keep your eyes on that, boys.
You can't do that to them. You can't do that to them.
Yeah, I know. That's now 2 times I've leaked the bucket hats before I was supposed to. But hey, sue me. All right, come after me, unpaid intern.
Well, no, sue the unnamed intern, not us. But with that, thank you guys so much for watching. Waterboy's out.